Hey everybody, good to see everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. And man, we're on fire at the moment. It's so cool. And I hope you guys have a good time because it's been pretty awesome. So let's get into it. All right, where are we? We're on a Sunday here down under in good old Kiwi land. It's 11:30 a.m. in the future. And of course, the 21st of May. Can you believe it? Crazy times. Let's get into chat and say hello to everybody. Hope you guys having a really good weekend and enjoying Pulsechain Paradise. Pulsechain Paradise, folks, is the title of the video. Over 100 million on Pulsechain Bridge, and of course, 250 million in the yield farms in the first week. Is that pretty awesome? I think you should give yourself a pat on the back. Not only that, we ended up being a number 3 on the Dexes. Really awesome. So cool. Behind, of course, BNB, and that's pretty awesome. And Ethereum, of course, are pretty nice. So next week, let's go for number 2 spot. All right, so we are super early. That is true. Elias Beneath in the house there. Hello, how are you today? Always bring the alpha. Hex, EHEX, PLS, and PLSX, and incentive token for the win, 100%. Big shout out to Matty Allen as well for his 48-hour mega live stream. And of course, he had lots of popular people on there, people of interest, and it was a great 48 hours. So big shout out for that. Takes a lot to organize those things. And good old, was it sunny Miami? What a Bitcoin crypto conference. So pretty awesome. Kiwi Crypto, good to see you in the house with the emojis. I love it. And a big shout out to you as well. Rob Patrick, good morning all. Good to see you, Rod. And we got Wookie as well. What a smart time to be in crypto, 100%. And not any crypto, but as what we always say, Richard Hart, the golden standard of crypto. And you guys can see it now rolling out. So we've been talking about it for 2 years, and you guys can see it now manifest itself in a Pulsechain Paradise. It's going to be absolutely incredible in the future. So you guys are all early. So very cool. The number one strategy, let's go back to life beneath. Accumulate, not financial advice, just talking about potential power of possibilities. So get into it, folks. Someone needs to make a Brotown meme coin, says Roderick Patrick. Yeah, people into the meme coins, that's for sure. Good job this morning on the 48-hour stream, says Uncle Will. Yeah, I did go on there for a little bit there. Yeah, I was on there when the bridge hit that 100 million mark, so that was pretty cool. It's good to be on the to cover that. Roderick Patrick as well. Morningside for life, 100%. Who else there? Harry Williams in the house. Good to see you. Hex Force 1. Hello, Superman and Hex Polskins. And I've got my favorite cup of tea as well. So I'm trying to move from coffee to cup of tea as much as possible. Just a bit more relaxing. We got T Tucker in the house. Let's go, 100%. Aussie Stone. Oh, I got the coffer there. Aussie Stone. G'day, family. What an incredible week, 100%. So amazing. And yeah, very cool. If the title was long enough, I would have put the fact that we had hit that deck spot as well at number 3. So pretty awesome. We are so freaking early, says Uncle Will, 100%. We are Stookies in house there. Hi, yo, good to see you. Yo from Harry Williams. Pulse rules. What's up, super? We're having a good time, that's for sure. What a weekend to have Pulsechain to watch it just grow and grow. Got a lot of people really interested in putting money into Pulsechain. What do you recommend for a tutorial for newbies, starting with putting in fiat into a centralized exchange to buy Pulsechain? I don't know if I got any videos on that. Maybe Rags to Riches or Crypto Coffee may have videos on that. And we're going to talk about one solution that's coming up in a second. So maybe that will fit that too. So we've got a video coming up for that. So that might actually answer that too. Get into our Discord. Probably got a few ideas in there. Murky in the house as well. When is PulseX pools likely to come out? PulseX pools. Well, we don't know. We don't know when they're likely to come out. Probably week 2, we might see something. There are a couple different combinations like Hex Incentive, I think is one that people might be looking at. We'll see what happens there. Single-sided staking, says Murky. Yeah, I don't know about that. Are you talking about single-sided staking? Yeah, we're not expecting that for a few weeks. So I don't expect that next week. I'd be very surprised, but you never know if Richard, shock and awe, that might be pretty cool for second week as to get those one-sided staking pools up. But we're not expecting them for the first few weeks. That's kind of the play there. I just hit my cup of tea with my hand. That's just how you do it. Howdy's Matt is in the house as well. Howdy, everybody. Good to see you, Matt. David Gomez as well. Hit that like button on the way in. 100% on that one too. Genuine, good morning. Good morning, Genuine. HH in the house. Hey, thanks, HH. I appreciated you in the chat yesterday on the live show. That was pretty cool. We got SKB as well, my first Hex Token channel member in the house. Brotown for the win. Hey, thanks, SKB. Big shout out to you and HH in there as well. Nice. Super front runs everything, says Wookie. Yeah, that is true. We have been front running a lot of stuff lately. So, yeah, we've been maximizing the week one accumulation. As I said, accumulation. Obviously, not financial advice, but we've been focusing a lot on that as well. Avit says, have you seen the epic call access live, mate? He said a Hex PLS ratio could hit 1 to 200, and hours later it did. I was talking about this for days. Now Hex is cheap again. 130 is the new 100, says Avit. No, I didn't see that. Just got up there. It just got up. So this is my morning, Avit, but that's congratulations, Access, on the call. And Jessetta as well. I said, man, if I want to sell some PLS into fiat on Pulsechain, sell some PLS into fiat on Pulsechain, do I swap it to ETH and then I can send it to my exchange? No, you can just swap it into stable coins on Pulsechain. Jessetta, you just got to make sure that you look for the ones that say that they are from Ethereum. You might have USDC from Ethereum, DAI from Ethereum. You just have to swap it on the actual Pulsex, and then you can bridge that back to Pulsechain if you want to do that. I'm going to talk about another solution that will be available to you as well. We'll be talking about bridges today. You guys didn't know that, but it's not in the title of the video. We're talking about bridging. Is our first main, well, it's not our first main topic. It's our second main topic is bridging. Rod Patrick says, I guess most people here don't know about Brotown. Best New Zealand cartoon ever, says Rod Patrick. Probably not, Rod. Probably you and a couple of Kiwis and maybe a few Aussies possibly. That is pretty much it. Let's get into it, folks. We're going to kick it off with, of course, the founder of Pulsechain, Pulsex, Hex, and the incentive token, Richard Hart. So let's get into his tweets over the last 24 hours. Free Pulse here. So, announcement, the FP dedication phase will not take place. That is not the announcement. So we're going to jump. That was jumping ahead in time there. I was on the wrong page. But here is Richard Hart. 22 hours ago, how do Pulsechain validators incentivize themselves to do a good job? Penalties, if they do a bad job, they penalize themselves, for instance. And there is an example of the penalties. Pretty expensive penalties to be paid if you don't perform well. So yep, that was cool. Tell me your thoughts on the coins. Obviously, they're all going up on the charts there. When you snapshot this 19 hours ago, Hex was up 78%, and Sim token was up 292%, and Pulse X was up 58.7% here. So pretty exciting about that. Obviously, Matty Allen had his 48-hour stream. That was pretty cool. I think I was on the 30 to 40-hour one. That's right. With who was it? Tangent and Toby One was on there at the time. Richard Hart said, let me explain a game that centralized entities play. They want your traffic. They want to rank your keywords for your keywords. They want to show you ads. So they write guides on how to buy things that they don't list. And they show prices, but perhaps don't rank you where you belong. You're the product to them, not the customer. That is so true. That is true. Let's jump through it in time here. There's more of the 24-hour stream. What else there? I've never tweeted about all new all-time highs, and this is really cool. So Richard posting this about the price charts 18 hours ago for Pulsechain, and then posted the Pulsex price, and then he posted the incentive price, and how fun is that? And then, of course, he posted the Hex price as well on Pulsechain, which is pretty cool. So fantastic stuff there. Easy promo for Pulsechain. And then, of course, 18 hours ago, if you don't know what Hart's Law is, you probably Google it. And so he's just giving a flashback at how assets work together, particularly Bitcoin, Ethereum, and everything like that, how the prices flow. Anyway, 15 hours ago, a bit of a smackdown. If you want to look at the silence from the haters, is deafening. Yeah, because Pulsechain is here and it's growing rapidly. And it's only early still, so pretty awesome. Richard Den 14 hours ago, so really like this website a lot, pulseburn.com. Of course, we're going to be using that. A lot of influencers using that. It's a terrific site. New things I noticed combines Hex, gas price versus Bitcoin, amount bridged out in LPs. He's even got an incentive token tracker, and of course, accruedincentive.com. We'll probably look at that. Amazing website, equivalent amount in validators. So pretty cool with that. That's one we're going to be using and looking at in a minute. 100 million hit the bridge there 30 hours ago. That was when I was on the live show on the 48-hour bonanza on Matt Allen's show, and that's where we hit 100 million, which is pretty cool. Very cool. Final live hour streams there 6 hours ago. I think I caught the tail end of that just briefly. And of course, a lot of people ask, how can you see your Hex stakes? If you had them Hex stakes and you got them copied over on the 10th of May at 10:30 at night, that's when the fork happened of Pulsechain forking Ethereum. Then you'd be able to see them on go.hex or the app.icosa.pro. So if you're wondering how to see your stakes, you just have to switch the chain over and just make sure that you know which chain you're on because that's the staking that you're going to be looking at, right? So if you want to make new stakes and all that sort of stuff, you can do it on those. Now, GoHex does work pretty well. It just takes a little bit longer to load up the data. And of course, you may, if you've been on one chain like Pulsechain, for example, and you want to see what your stakes look like on the ETH chain, you may need to open up a separate window and then just log on there. So it just needs to refresh that way rather than if you're just on the same window on your browser, then it probably won't spin up. So just need to open up a new window. That should work pretty good on go.hex. Otherwise, you can use app.icosa Pro, excuse me, which is awesome. So both of those are great solutions for seeing your Hex stakes and, of course, on both chains. So you just have to switch the chain around. Very, very cool. All right, what else that we got there 5 hours ago? By the way, if you're if you're an centralized entity like an exchange or service provider trying to message me, don't bother because I really don't read messages, emails, or the newspapers, or anything else. Everything is decentralized. You can find 10 to 20 different people in the community that can answer your questions just fine. So if you basically there's going to be, I don't know whether they're wanting to get paid to listing Pulsechain, but of course they're just going to have to list it because Pulsechain is already taking its rightful places on the dexes with the Pulsex, and of course they're just going to have to list it. That's out there. They can list it and go for gold on that. So if they don't want to miss out on one of the biggest parts of crypto value, then that's up to them because Pulsechain's only going to get bigger from here and take over more of market share. So good luck to them. But we welcome everybody. So look forward to seeing some decent listings, some proper rankings, and so forth. Yesterday we talked about CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. We've talked about that. We've talked to a lot of other platforms that have listed like DeFi Llama. There's so many stamping up there. Obviously TrustSwap and many others. So it's really starting to expand and more and more and more. And so very, very cool. But hey, rank us properly and of course give us fair due because Pulsechain's taken over and don't want to ignore that. All right, so that was pretty cool. Retweet that one. And that was pretty much it for the day. So nice little finish there. And we look forward to big centralized exchanges listing Pulsechain, Pulsex, and because we're taking over. We're taking over more of the market share, and you guys are all here early to enjoy the rise to greatness, Pulsechain paradise. Pretty exciting. All right, let's jump over to some of the updates here. This is the new site here with the Pulse Burn. Let's go pull up. We're going to pull up this one first. Let's pull up this one here. This is the incentive token. So this is pulseburn.com. Now, if you haven't saved this to your favorites, I'll post this in the chat there just so you can check it out, which is pretty cool. Before we do that, though, let's get into some of the chats here and catch up to say hello to a few people. Let's see how we're getting. CJ in the house. Good to see you, CJ. Who else is there? Matt and Barley. Still waiting on my ETH to arrive. Will be 3 days tonight. Yeah, you're on the longer side, I think, Matt. Definitely on the longer side, but it is clearing the bridge. Hex is the goat, says Debbie Cooper, 100%. Good to see you. CJ says, I see all my Pulse stakes on Staker app. Props to the Staker team. Yeah, so that's another place, of course. Staker app is another place you can see your stakes. Very, very cool. There are a few other front ends out there as well. We've got a lot of the links in our useful links in Discord. If you want to find all those links, they're all in there. Matt and Barley's in the house there. Nice to see you as well. Let's get into it, folks. Let's look how Pulsechain is growing. And here we are on pulseburn.com. And we can see the prices at the moment. Pulse there is at 000215, up 9.6% on the 24 hours. That's pretty awesome. 2.15 times the sacrifice price at the moment. And it's early days. What else there? We've got the market cap, 29 billion showing based on, I guess, the total supply of 135 trillion. The burned amount is 1.15 billion has been burned through the chain. Pretty awesome. And I don't believe that includes these Pulsechain validator teams who are burning all their PLS as well. So it's probably double that. Pretty exciting. So that is awesome. We got Pulsex there as well. sitting at quadruple 0795. So let's say quadruple 08, and that's up 32%. And that is a ratio of the ratio to Pulse is 1 to 2.7 at the moment. So that's pretty cool. What else there? We've got the volume there, 40 million traded, market cap 11 billion, supply 143 trillion, and you can verify that on the Block Explorer under the token for PulseX. And the burn at the moment, 34 billion PulseX burned. Isn't that amazing? So that's 0.023% of the total supply. But of course, if you take out the Origin account, that is way higher. I don't know, numbers maybe 7-8 times higher. That's pretty big. So pretty cool. What else there? We've got the incentive token, of course, which has done spectacular. Of course, with the incentive farms that opened up for the incentive PLS, incentive PLSX farms, those two farms, that made the incentive price bounce back from about 35,000 Pulse per incentive and jumped all the way back up to 145. I think it got as high as about 155 so far. So it's pulled back just a little bit, but it's still up 40%. So 145,000 Pulse per incentive token. Pretty nice in those yield farms. We're going to talk about those yield farms too. I actually haven't pulled it up. We're going to talk about those. I know many of you would like to get some considerations. I'm going to give you some quick considerations on those like I did yesterday. Let's get into the total supply of incentive tokens now, 651,000 supply of that. Now remember, Pulsechain and PulseX were the total supplies were given from the sacrifices over the last 2 years, but the incentive token starts from 0 and only starts growing from when the farms got pushed up there. And you can only get into those farms if you provide liquidity for those particular pairs for those farms that are up there. So you can earn fees on pretty much all the pairs out there, but only a certain select of those are actually in the farms, and that's to attract certain capital to those. So that's the reason why those farms come up in particular. Of course, stable coins. We'll talk more about that. So yeah, 651,000 incentive tokens in total supply at the moment. Pretty cool. So we're going to get into the new site there also provided, which is accruedinc.com. And this one here, let's post that in the chat as well. Just so you guys might want to have a look at that. Save it to your favorites, folks. If you're involved in incentive tokens in any way, either holding them for speculation or farming them. That's pretty cool. So that is the link there. What else there? So we've got this site here. You've accrued so many, and it's got a cool site there. Address, what your address is, how much you've accrued, etc. Very cool. So you can go buy that as well. So that's cool for you if you're in the incentive there for the farming, and of course got to click a button there to click the Go Harvest as well, which is pretty cool. So definitely check that out. It's got accrued, liquid, and total. Nice one on that one. All right, so that is pretty cool. Those are the highlights there. Let's jump into the bridge. We're going to be talking about the bridge quite a bit. We've got the Pulsechain list here. Yeah, we're going to talk about the bridge. Let's pull that up. The bridge this is the official bridge for Pulsechain. And of course, it's the URL is bridge.pulsechain.com. I'll post the link in the video in the chat there in case you want to bridge something over. You've got to probably, at the moment, time maybe 2 days, something like that, maybe 3 days. So that is kind of the pace. It is clearing out, but it's accelerating at different times. So I always say, around about 48 hours is probably a reasonable time. It might be slightly later, it might be slightly later as Wiki's finding out. But that is the bridge there. That's the official bridge. Another name people have called it, of course, Pulse Ramp as well. So that is the bridge there. And so far, look at this. So we breached 130 hours ago. We breached 100 million. So in that time, we've got another 7 million that's entered the bridge, which is pretty cool. So what is that? If you double that, that's about 14 million a day at the moment coming onto the bridge. And of course, that's pretty cool. So the total amount processed so far, 53.7 million, which is pretty crazy. So we've got another maybe 54 million coming across the bridge that has not yet even hit the markets. So you know what a capital does to markets? It blows them up like a balloon. Now, obviously, this is going to go to certain places. So that's the title of the video that, we've got a big amount that's actually ended up going to the yield farms. Yield farms at 250 million. We're going to talk about that. So pretty exciting. Let's pull up the old PulseX and have a look at that. PulseX at the moment is doing pretty well with the farms. So we know that quite a bit of the capital is coming over the bridge. We can see it already here in the farms. We got the DAI pair, the USD pair, the wrapped ETH pair, USD Tether pair, and of course the bridged in Hex. and you can see the liquidity in there at the moment. So pretty huge. If you add all these up, approximately, obviously prices move around, but approximately there's about $250 million of capital in here. Obviously, the three-fifths of that is in the Pulse X wrapped Pulse, but you've got all the stuff in the dime. I think I did a quick number calculation yesterday, just as a rough proxy. It was probably about $12 to $13 million in stables, and that's only going to go up and up and up as the bridge empties out. But it's pretty cool. So yeah, a lot of the capital is in the top pairs. Obviously, rich Hart tokens, the golden standard. There's lots in meme coins as well. Sort of flows in there as too, and a lot obviously sitting in people's wallets. At the moment, of course, we've got the total amount deposited, 107,229,000. 50.1% of this has been processed so far, which is pretty cool. You can see that in the old scroll bar there. What is it? A thermometer, what do you want to call it? Progress bar. And, of course, we've got Hex there at the moment, 1 billion Hex. Woohoo! Now, this is also going to have an interesting impact on the circulating supply on the Ethereum chain. That's bullish. That can only be bullish. And, of course, we've got $35 million value there. And so far, out of that 1 billion, we've had 45% come through, 446 million, which is pretty crazy. And we've got 309 million of it in liquidity pools, which is pretty cool. Now, we're going to come back to that for the farm. Hold on. We're going to talk about the farms. But we're going to deal with the bridges first. So DAI there, 23 million coming in, and 15 million's reached it. So far, 64% of the DAI is already in. So if you're wondering what stable coins you should bring over, well, any of these, depending on your target. So what pair are you targeting? What asset are you targeting that's related to DAI? And then you can think about which stable coin you want to bring over. That's probably a good, easy way. Now, obviously, you can swap those stables. But if you want to be just keep it nice and simple, you can just target, think about the pair that you're wanting to buy. Maybe it's some Pulse and you want to buy with Pulse with DAI, and then just bridge in some DAI. USDC there, we've got $20 million coming in so far. 10 million's coming, 53%. ETH there, we've got 8,800 Ethereum there. It's worth $16 million, and that is we've got 4,000 so far. 46% of that come in, and finally USD Tether there, 14 million. And of course, we got 5.8 million come in so far. That's 42%. So looking really, really good. Now, obviously, you guys are thinking about that bridge there. And of course, what are we at here? We're currently on Sunday in Kiwiland. And of course, Saturday, it will be late, I guess, afternoons, late night Saturday in the United States on Saturday. So what are your options? So obviously, the official bridge is your option. We talked about that. Post that link in the chat there. But what other options do you have? Well, Dipcatcher, who ran the Escrow Bridge so successfully the other day, he is going to be running that again. So this was the bridge here. It is running up here, and of course he's going to be running it again for Tuesday, and this will probably front run the bridge for you. If you want to front run it, you can probably do it with this. Now, there are risks involved depending on the ratio. So typically the people that are putting Pulse in here got a premium, and of course if you're putting ETH in, that you're paying for a little bit of premium, but maybe you don't care. Maybe you don't care because you're getting Pulse, and you're also getting Pulse ahead of the bridge. You're getting front running these guys. Now, I don't know where this will be by the time that it goes on Tuesday. And of course, the clock, I don't know if he ran a 24-hour clock last time, I believe. And so I don't know if he's going to run a 12-hour clock on this. So basically, people have a period of time where they can put funds in. And then, of course, it will close. And it took about 2 hours last time to clear. He has to run all these Merkle trees and map over the accounts and then give you the ratio that you deserve. And of course, but it was very successful. I helped somebody do this on the bridge. It worked very, very well. So that's some testimony there. And it was very, very cool. Now, he says, on Tuesday, we will kick off a second round of the gas bridge, allowing you to directly convert from Ethereum and Pulse cross-chain. Same contracts and slightly optimized escrow agent process. So this escrow agent process kicks off at the end and runs that Merkle tree process, just basically mapping over the account. So what's going to happen is if you're on Ethereum, you're going to put Ethereum on one side. If you're on Pulse, you're going to put Pulse on the other side. And then, of course, it's going to map out who put which addresses put that stuff in there, what amount. And then, of course, the ratio between the amount of Pulse that went in there and the amount of ETH in there, it's going to give you a certain ratio that you're going to get. And, of course, then it will map over the accounts. So if you had the accounts that you put the Ethereum here, you're going to get that ratio of Pulse. That Pulse pool is going to get divided to you on this side to your accounts, which is pretty cool. And all you have to do is go claim it off the site, which is pretty neat. And there's also, for those who help deploy that, they get to. So here's the review record. We can view the record here, and you can download the data for what happened the first time. So you can check that out on the site. Very, very, very cool. So I'm going to post the link to this tweet in the chat there for those who want to front run the bridge, because you probably still will if it is taking up to 3 days. then this could end up working out for you. Once again, you have to decide which do you think is going to be faster, the official bridge, like if you got in today, for example, or if you wait until, if you decided you got funds coming a bit later, maybe this is a fast option for you. Once again, do read all the risks when it shows up on the site. But like I say, I helped someone do the first bridge, and that came across very, very, very cool, and they were very happy as well. So cool. What else there? So that's cool. I'll post the site there that was used for the actual bridging, and that's a cool option, man. I was so stoked by that, and I think that was a really cool solution there. So big shout out to Dipcatcher, because that was a great solution. All right. So hopefully I've explained how that kind of works, and you guys can follow that. It's kind of cool. So that's Dipcatcher. So nice one there. Now we've had news. Obviously, we've got more news about the bridge. So let me come back to the bridge here. This was a news that was on the end of the 48-hour live stream, and this was from Alex McFurter, looking at a single token or single coin solution, really, well, at least a token solution with the Wrap Pulse on the BNB exchange. So this looks like he's going to do this. I don't know what the time frame of this is going to be, but yeah, very, very cool. Let's listen from Alex. This came hot off the press from that.
Just as the native. Someone go fork that and put it on BNB. So we can go get real Pulse wrapped, put on Binance chain. Because now you have access, whether Binance listed or not, everyone on Binance chain can just come out of the centralized exchange onto BNB and use their DEX to go to Pulse. So now you have a direct on-ramp for a SEC, but it's a single token bridge. It just does the native. Someone go fork that and put it on BNB. So we can go get real Pulse wrapped, put on Binance chain. Because now you have access, whether Binance listed or not, everyone on Binance chain can just come out of the centralized exchange onto BNB and use their DEX to go to Pulse. So now you have a direct on-ramp for a SEC, but it's a single token.
So that's really awesome. So he's going to do forking the bridge for the Wrap Pulse onto the BNB chain. So people are going to be, basically, if you're going to account with Binance, you'll be able to get onto that bridge and get some Wrap Pulse and then bridge into Pulsechain. So it's pretty cool like that. So we're getting really cool stuff like from Dipcatcher, from Alex McFurter, really top deliverable devs that are looking for solutions as we to take off some of the traffic volume, the congestion on the bridge. The bridge is working much better, obviously. They've made improvements to that, but yeah, really cool. So those are two solutions that we're coming up. But then, of course, we've also got the liquid loan solution. That's number 4 on the plate there. Liquid loans obviously coming with their partnership with Multichain, Multichain being the leader probably in bridge technology. And of course, they're looking to set up their own direct bridge as well. And of course, the Portal X, which is Power City's Superdecks aggregator, that is basically going to use the Multichain bridge and of course the official Pulse ramp bridge that we talked about that Richard set up. So very cool there. So there are a lot of solutions. Once we get through that, of course, once this bridge is less clogged, as it were, once it's free flowing, that will change the way the assets will move. Because what happens is the arbitrage from chain to chain will start changing, right? It'll be almost not quite instant, but almost instant, and that's kind of where you're getting to, right? So this opportunity before this bridge gets unclogged with these other alternative solutions and things like that, particularly the multi-chain Power City one, it's going to change the dynamic very quickly. So just take that into account. You have got a window of opportunity here to accumulate as much as you can. And maybe Dipcatcher's solution is a pretty cool one, getting your ETH over to Pulsechain. That gets you Pulsechain straight away. So there's some things to think about there for you in those terms of the solution. So hopefully that's been helpful, just highlighting some of those bridging solutions coming very soon, particularly the Dipcatcher one on Tuesday. All right, so that's pretty cool. Let us save that to my favorites there. Let us go down to the Pulsechain Explorer. We're going to have a look at the validators at the moment. I just want to have a look at the validators quickly. So we're going to scroll down, and that is the validator numbers at the moment. So we've got validators coming up. This is a bullish thing too. Now we obviously talk about the economics of it with the DEX and the volumes going through, which is spectacular. We're going to get to that soon when we get to market prices. But the validators here, look at this, absolutely spectacular. 11,696 validators. This is so good, folks, in the first week. Really, really amazing. 3,903 entering. So that's an addition. So it's pretty amazing. Let's add those numbers up. So we've got 11,696 plus 3,903. That gets us to 15,599. Now, if you remember Richard Hart's original tokenomics for the Pulsechain Testnet V4 to get the APY, he was sort of had a number of 40,000 validators with a 3% APY, and that's awesome. We're so close to hitting so fast to that number. It's amazing, and this is fantastic. So on the validator side, that makes Pulsechain more decentralized. That makes profit sharing more distributed. Really is pretty cool. So that is 39% of that 40,000 sort of base number there. Very, very exciting on that. So bullish. And the other thing that, of course, that locks away is so much Pulse, right? So at the moment, Stake Pulse off the market. So we've talked about the burn up here. The burn of Pulsechain is up at 1.15 billion. And of course, we've got the validators burning their, the Pulsechain team burning their rewards, block rewards. But we've also got the supply sync. So people are having to supply sync their Pulse as well. And some of these are very large holders of Pulse. And of course, we've got 374 billion of that so far is been staked. So we've got burning, we've got staking, supply syncs, making Pulsechain more rare. And that's really cool. We sort of ignore the origin accounts. So really, that's very exciting. So yeah, maybe we've got 12 and a half a trillion in the public hands, but that's going up all the time. Look at that. Did you see that just jump in real time? Awesome. That just jumped in real time. So that's off the market. So bullish. And we're so early. You can imagine what this is going to be like over the weeks ahead, the months ahead. And of course, as we enter into some sort of bull run, particularly with Bitcoin breaks that $30,500 mark, we could see some really, really interesting things come happen here. Very, very exciting indeed. We've had such a great start. It's unbelievable. Despite the bridge, obviously the bridge has been a bit cloggy. That's been a real issue. And of course, I've just gone through a lot of the solutions that are coming up for that, as well as obviously the improvements that the official team's made. Pretty exciting there. So let's have a look at the Beacon Explorer. This is what the Explorer looking at the validators. You can see it in real time. The validators there and the epoch. So you can see the chain is performing pretty well. We have one epoch, remember, is about 5 minutes and 33 seconds long at 10-second slot times. There are 32 slots in every epoch. And of course, it's about 5.5 minutes. We have a block pretty much for every slot. Occasionally a block might be missed or something, but we've got a block for every slot. And of course, the validators, we need 128 validators per slot. And of course, one of them gets to be the proposer and validates those blocks. And the rest of the 127 get to test the block, which is pretty cool. And they all get paid the block from the block rewards, from uncle fees, if that occurs, and things like that. So very, very exciting there as well. And yeah, you need 32 million at the moment to be a validator. Now, that being said, of course, you don't have 32 million Pulse. Then you're going to, there will be probably solutions in the future. We just talked about Alex McFurter talking about forking that bridge for the wrap Pulse to BNB chain. And of course, he is going to be, has talked about doing Rocket Pool, one of the top TVL projects. I think it's ranked number 12 on Ethereum, that will be doing delegating of some form. There's normally two options for those, and that would dramatically reduce one of those options, particularly dramatically reduces the amount of Pulse that you'll probably need. He's also looking at using ICOSA for that, which is bullish for those holding ICOSA. So very, very exciting to see that. And obviously, he's doing a multi-market as well. He is doing multiple dApps, it appears, and he's definitely delivered some outstanding quality in his products. So very exciting to see that. All right, so pretty cool on that one. I think we're going to jump over to the markets, I think. I think that was all we wanted to show there. Now, the gas prices, just quickly, if you haven't seen it, there's got the gas prices at the bottom of Pulse Burn. You can see the GUI or beats here, and you can see that blue line. That's the GUI over the last 24 hours. But the cool thing about the site is he's added the price on here, which makes it very real for you to understand what this is actually costing you to do certain things, right? So MetaMask will probably make the price a little bit higher than you'd normally expect, and you'll obviously generally you'll play effectively below that amount on MetaMask. But this gives you an indication here. So at 5.8 million beats, we've got, it will cost you 2,000 Pulse here to do a swap, which is about 43 cents, which is pretty cool. To send Pulse, the coin, is about 3 cents at the moment, 122 Pulse. And of course, to send a PRC20 token, which is everything else, right? So Pulse is the coin, and everything else is a PRC20. That includes the Wrap Pulse, right? So Wrap Pulse is Pulse, but it's used for DeFi, and obviously you can do it cross-chain as well. So it's got that smart contract functionality. So don't get confused by Pulse Coin and Pulse Wrap Pulse in the sense that they are just basically the same thing, but obviously Wrap Pulse has more functionality to it, but they represent Pulse. We got Sen PRC20 at 19 cents at the moment, 874 Pulse to do that. Now, the cool thing about this is that he's got the relativity, right? So he's got 40x cheaper than Ethereum, which is pretty cool. We want to keep that to a pretty decent level, but we'll see, because we're expecting a lot of big dApps to launch on Pulsechain. A lot. I mean, a lot. I know some that haven't been announced that are coming, and they're going to be pretty awesome. But we also know many that we have been announced. All our top tier utilities, they're all coming too within probably the first 6 to 8 weeks. So we're expecting liquid loans within 60 days. So that's pretty cool. We've obviously got Power Cities, big protocols, the Core, the Earn protocol. So we've got those 2 liquidity forks, and they're going to sync even more Pulse. So we talked about the validator syncing all this Pulse. Well, we've got liquid loans coming, and people are going to sink a ton of Pulse in that to get the new stablecoin. So not only do we have these big DeFi lenders sucking up more Pulse and PulseX, the Earn protocol sucking up more, or supply syncing more PulseX, but people are going to be issuing stablecoins on there too. So Pulsechain's going to have its own native stablecoins on the best protocols that are out there. Obviously, Liquidity has performed very, very well on the Ethereum, particularly during the terrible times of Terra Luna and, of course, FTX and things like that. Liquidity was the one of choice there. Now, I think the 2 good protocols for stablecoins are the Liquidity protocols, where you have the collateralization and you're using the main coin or main token in case of PulseX and the Earn protocol. But of course, you also, the other good model that's working very well is just the straight up fiat model, which is what the Coast team is using, and of course they are getting very, very close to that as well. Now they're looking to launch the Coast team looking to launch the first bridge. They're going to have on ramp, off ramp, and of course they're looking to do that with USDC on Ethereum, and that is coming very soon. And then we should have quickly followed after that. They're still working on it, but the on-ramp, off-ramp to Pulsechain, they're dealing with the big operators to make custodials to make that possible. So they've already got their banking partner. They're looking to make that possible as well for Pulsechain. And of course, once they have that, then phase 3 would be the stablecoin CST, and they'd be issuing that as well in a treasury pool. So we're looking forward to that. It looks like they're going to use their weight token and of course Hex there as well in their tokenomics. So that's going to be pretty cool. A bit more of a supply sync for Hex, and of course that weight protocol as well. So we're looking for that. It'll lower the fees, make the fees far more compatible. So some of the big people that are going and want to bridge in fiat, say from the United States to the UK as first, then they'll be very excited. And obviously they're going to expand to more countries like Australia, I think Canada and other places next. And then they're going to go around the world, of course, and enable more people to do that. Now the cool thing about that bridge, of course, on ramp, off ramp, is that they won't have any limits on the amount that you can put over, which is going to be pretty cool. So very, very exciting stuff happening here, folks. And we've got more and more protocols launching. It's going to be very, very cool. Obviously, Fiat, the fork of Aave, launching on Pulsechain too. There's so many coming, folks. It's going to be really, really cool. We're going to have a lot of the top TVLs on Ethereum will be on Pulsechain. Obviously, we've already seen the Trust Swap team already bridging over their liquidity, and they're going to make their liquidity pool much bigger. They've also launched several meme coins as well. We've got Dodge and Pepe. So you've got lots of big, big teams with big influencers out there spreading the words, which is pretty neat. All right, so that's some of the cool stuff there. Let's jump over to the Pulsechain something. We're going to Pulsechain. I think we've done that, Pulsechain. We're going to get into the farms. Before we get into the farms, though, we're going to talk about these farms. I hope you guys enjoy the discussion here, but let's get into see who's jumped in the chat. Don't want to get too far ahead, as we say. Let us see where we are. All right, got my own sound effects now. What else we got here? Got up to that comment. We got Bobsled in the house. Got good evening, folks, or God evening, says Bobsled. Good to see you. Matt and Barley says, I did start a farm late last night before I went to bed, and one of my Hex copies looking good so far. Nice one there, Matt. We're going to talk about those in next topic. Turtles Only as well. Superman. Hey, good to see you, Turtles Only. A big welcome to everybody, by the way. And don't forget to subscribe, smash that like button, hit the bell on the way in. Really does help with the channel, honestly. And you guys know I'm pretty much faithfully streaming every day on Pulsechain, PulseX, and Hex, getting the good word out there. You guys are all here early, folks. Make the most of it. These early times are the best times. It's always going to be good to accumulate for a long time to come. But getting in early is you can't beat that, can you? But early for layer ones is a long time. But this is the early part of early. Let me put it that way. We got Matt and Barley says, sure, that's what I thought. Just baiting on receiving trick. I think you guys are talking to somebody else, are you? I think you are. Let's jump through some of that. Jacetta as well. Be careful of Twitter posts giving you a pulse, force it web link on free pulse. I clicked on it and asked for your address, and it seems like a scam to drain your account. Yeah, so be careful with that as well. Take care out there. There's lots of scams. Let me hear. Matt says farm till the cows come home with X. Yes, we're going to talk about that. Very good observation, Matt. Archipelago in the house there as well. Hi, all good to see Archipelago. What else there? Let's jump here. Everything is happening right now, almost like a dream. It is. Well, that was I was going to call my title, my video, Pulsechain Dream, but then I thought, Pulsechain Paradise. I was saying Pulsechain Paradise yesterday, but you're right. It's like a dream too. A dream coming true. Smog says, good to see you on the 48-hour stream yesterday, Hex Token. Hey, thanks, Smog. Appreciate that. Yeah, I just jumped on. I got invited on, so I thought I'd jump on there for a little bit there. Check my pulse. Says, good evening, everybody. Good to see you. Check my pulse. Archipelago just gave out 5 Hex Token memberships. Smash those out. Grab those up while you can. I think we've had a little bit of issue with people actually grabbing those. I know that Brian and a few other people have been giving out some, and people haven't been picking them up. So definitely grab those if you can. Those are free. 5 Hex Token memberships free there. Grab them up. So hopefully that's showing up on the chat there. Voltile says, hey, Superman, when do you think PLS and PLSX will be listed to buy on, say, MetaMask with a buy tab like you get with ETH? Well, I'm hoping you raised that. I do not know the answer to that. I don't know if anyone else has pushed that request. We've got quite a few people in the community reaching out to platforms to, obviously expand Pulsechain. And I don't know whether that's happened or not, or whether someone's done that. So I don't know the time frame. All I'm going to say is that they would be missing out on a lot of volume now. They'll see the fact that Pulsechain has gone up to number 3. They won't be, these things. They're all focused on money, right? So they don't want to miss out on that. The other thing, of course, we've got Internet Money Wallet, which has popped up. They're doing their own swapping. So it might be something you want to check out there. I do know they had one bug issue, I think, but I'm not sure how important that was. I haven't actually followed that up yet, but Internet Money's definitely got the swap thing. That's where the money goes back to the people swapping rather than to MetaMask, which gets all the money, right? So you want to get rid of the middleman, and Internet Money Wallet does that. So I don't know much further than that, but I'll try and get back to you. I want to get more around Internet Money. I'll try and get KG on, actually, because I'd like to talk more about Internet Money. The other thing, of course, we've also got the Richard Hart wallet in the future. We'll wait to see what Richard does with that. They do take all the profits on there. That's the same thing I was going to say about that volatile. We're trying to move away from that to DeFi land, and where we get the money, we get redistributed the money. They're very cool. Christian Collin House, they member 4 months. Nice one. History in the making. Appreciate that, Christian. And a great street. As history in the making in crypto, it's a big, big deal. And financial freedom too. That's also true. Hello, Hex Token, everybody. Sandy Beach has arrived. Good to see you, Sandy Beach. Now, Sandy Beach is a truly rising star on Twitter. And of course, if you haven't followed Sandy Beach on Twitter, one of our moderators, go follow Sandy Beach on Twitter. Really, really cool. So big shout out. Drix in the house as well, on fire. My man Drix. Good to see you, Drix. And Luna as well. What was the incentive token site you said you're putting in the description? That is a tracking site. So I think it tracks your farming. I haven't actually used it myself, but you can check it out. It's pretty easy. It's from the same founder, same developer as Pulseburn here. Richard retweeted it. So there we are. Actually, I'm trying to show the screen, but I'm not showing you. Crypto NFW says, how much are the gas fees in bridging ETH from Pulsechain Bridge? Well, using the official bridge, it might cost you, I don't know, depends on what asset you're sending. If you're sending USDC, like a stable coin, it's probably going to cost you twice as much, maybe 40% more, maybe 50% more than sending normal tokens. Like sending ETH. ETH will probably be the cheapest option. So yeah, depending on the GUI, I don't know if the GUI is 40 GUI, I don't know what's going to cost you. Let's have a look at the Ethereum chain at the moment. Let me have a quick look at that, see what the gas is. Oh, man. GUI is only 27. Are you kidding me? GUI is 727 at the moment. Unbelievable. Man, the memes are over. Pulsechain is here, and the GUI is down. That's crazy. So, yeah, be pretty cheap at the moment to send stuff over the bridge, particularly Ethereum. They'll be the cheapest one to send over But yeah, the stablecoins typically cost more. But yeah, you might get it for $15, $10, something like that. I don't know what the gas, the difference in the gas tokenomics are, but yeah, probably let's say $15, something like that. Yeah. You certainly, I always like the 5% rule. I really, in terms of the fee being 5% of what you're sending over at least. And of course, that's kind of a good rule of thumb, is the old 5%. So if you're sending over $100, you want the fee to be $5. That's kind of that rule. So if it's $200, $10, that's kind of the rule there. So food for thought. Especially if you're getting in stables. Donny says, hey, Superman and all Pulsechain OGs, happy to be here. Now let's get some alphabets. Alphabets, nice one, Donny. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Or as we're going to say, Pulsex and Pulse and Hex and Incentive, like that. All right, we'll move away from the scene. What else? Blobfish King's in the house. Good to see you. Ramon as well. Well, forget BSC. We are coming for Pot Ethereum. Yeah, basically it's just a way on onboarding onto Pulsechain. So it's just another bridge format. That's kind of cool. Christian in the house there, Colin. Yo. Good to see Christian, who gave this 4 months as a member. Pretty awesome. Morning Ship Man fan from Brennan. Hey, Brennan, good to see you too. Shout out. Who else there? Bruce says, my wife says she wants emerald earrings. Please let Pulsechain run so I can have a happy wife. Please, Superman, says Bruce. Yeah, well, you're not the only one. Happy wife, happy life. That's definitely true. Definitely true there. Pac-Man in the house there. Bam, let's go. Good to see you, Pac-Man. And Thothschild as well, the bridge on the river, DeFi. Yeah, that's true. What else? I think we're up to date. So let's go into the updates there. This is the farms on at the moment. So Pulsex, of course, the Superdecks now is doing pretty well. You can do liquidity, provide liquidity, and do exchange. So if you provide liquidity and you can pick any pair, you'll earn 0.22% of the fee. And the fee is 0.29% of every trade. So you're getting about 76% of the fees. Now, obviously, if the liquidity pool that you provide, maybe you're giving 50% of 2 different tokens. It is based on Uniswap V2 technology, and that's really designed to pump prices as well. Is that you'll earn that the more stuff that's turning over in that pool, the higher the value, the more you're going to earn that pool, right, for the fees. But the cool thing is if you provide certain different pairs on those liquidities, you can actually go to earn the incentive token as well, which is super bonus there. And we can see the pairs that are up and running at the moment. So these are the pairs up and running at the moment. There's been no new pair added since yesterday. I think that was yesterday. Was it yesterday afternoon, or was it earlier? I can't remember if that was afternoon or the day before. I'm starting to lose the plot now. But we've got Pulsex here. Pulse. That is kind of people got them in there. So if you don't care too much about the ratio moving around, although apparently, as Abit pointed out, has moved around pretty aggressively overnight, at least in the last couple of hours, and that has moved. But if you don't too care about which token you're holding, Pulse or Pulsex, then this is probably a decent one for you to be in. Now, obviously, you do face impairment loss. The cool thing is that it does show you inside, once you put some in, it does show you the amount of tokens you've got in there, which is kind of neat. So you can see I always say take a snapshot of what you've got at the beginning, and you'll get a snapshot at the end. You'll see what you've got there. But anyway, the APR there is at 41%. You can see there's 152 million liquidity in there. That will move around with the prices of Pulse and Pulsex. Just take that into account. So those numbers will move around. But here is the bridged in DAI. So if you're bridging and stuff through the bridge, so all the stuff here that's coming in through the bridge here, if you're bridging that in, then obviously these are the chosen pools here: DAI, USDC, ETH here, Hex, ETH, and USD's Tether. Those are the ones coming through the bridge. You can see what they're called. They're called DAI from Ethereum. That's the bridge and stuff. So that is actually backed by $1 on the Ethereum side, right? So that's the real one. And of course, there are copies on Pulsechain. So when Pulsechain forked Ethereum, there were copies of those tokens, and they're not back. So I do not trade those. They're really not worth anything. People will trade them as in a degen way, but really don't trade them. They're not worth the value. Just be careful out there. So make sure you've got the bridged ones. On Pulsex, that would be called DAI from Ethereum. You know you got the right one there, and we'll look at that quickly too. But those are the ones there. USDC there. We've also got Hex from Ethereum there as well. And you can see the actual tokens there have actually changed them here with the blue outside. They had the colored one, the gradient color there. It looks like they have gone with the blue for the DAI there from Ethereum, and they got the blue around the edge there too. These ones aren't rendering on my video here, but that's true. The USD Tether there's got the blue outline representing that's from Ethereum, and it's got the green there for obviously logo there for the Tether, USD Tether. So those are in there too. Now, why would you do that? So why would you do that? Well, obviously for Pulse and Pulsex, you want liquidity for those to trade. They're the top two tokens there. But you also want stable coins to come in from Ethereum. So that's why these are popped up here. And you've wrapped them up. Instead of wrapping on Ethereum, you'd have a lot of things matched with Ethereum, right? But of course, on Pulsechain, Pulse is the Ethereum, right? So Pulse is the main coin. In this case, it's the representation of wrap Pulse. So you've got all the stable coins in there. So obviously, this is attracting all this capital over in stable coins that are based on US dollars. And of course, that helps to value up the chain, which is really, really awesome. And you can see that this has attracted a lot of liquidity. The DAI's got $7.4 million in there. The USDC's got 6.8 million. So, I mean, you can just divide these in two. This is a proxy. It won't be quite like that, of course, but you can divide these in two. And you know that there's a lot of US dollars and DAI sitting in there, as well as Pulse, right? So Pulse value, that includes both value of Pulse and DAI in there. So pretty cool. We've got Hex obviously in there, 5.5 million. Wrapped ETH there as well. This is the real wrapped ETH from Ethereum. So obviously when Pulsechain forked Ethereum, people got one Pulse per Ethereum that they had, but that's based on that. But of course, Pulse replaces ETH as the coin. But in terms of wrapped ETH, you can actually bridge it over and it will hold its technically hold its value. It can do some weird things, but can technically hold its value over here on this chain. But sometimes things go a bit wonky and things get underpriced by the market as well. So we've seen that with some of these stables, but I think they're probably all stabilized now. I haven't actually checked, but they probably have. So pretty cool. Anyway, so in terms of the return, you're going to face different issues around impairment loss. Obviously, if the price of Pulse goes up versus all these stable coins, then you're going to get less Pulse and you get more stable coins. That could have an impact on you. And of course, you're obviously going to get an offset for that with the fees that you earn, with the incentive token that you earn as well. Now, the incentive token can obviously depends on what the incentive token is doing. At the moment, you can see the incentive token here is worth 145,000 incentive tokens per 145,000 Pulse per incentive token at the moment. And of course, that there took off in price when the incentive farms launched. So that's the case there as well. So just maybe take into account those things. Now, I kind of feel here we've got other pools here as well, Hex from Ethereum and Hex LP. I actually kind of like this pool. This is one of my favorite pools. I think this one here is if you had if you bridged in Hex from the Ethereum chain and you matched it with your Hex copies. So imagine if you had Hex Liquid at the fork on the May the 10th, then you would be able to put these two together. And if if you think they're going to go to parity, like 1-to-1, and maybe they're not parity at the moment, they're like 1 to 1.25, 1 to 1.2. Here's the ratio here at the moment. So it's one e-hex, so that's bridged in Hex versus Hex, which is 1 to 1.3. So if you think that, then that's kind of cool. You're not too worried about that. You think it's maybe move to parity and the value will move to parity, then that might be a good one for you. So I kind of feel like that's one of the better pools if you're in that position. Obviously, if you're having to buy that, then there's different things to take into account. The fact that you're buying it rather than you've already got the assets. So I actually kind of like some of my favorite ones there. Now, obviously, the APR is lower, but you don't have as high impermanent losses here, particularly if you are going to decrease your Pulse if the price of Pulse goes up there in these pools. So food for thought. Now, the price of Pulse, of course, we're expecting, if you're bullish about Pulsechain and Pulsex, these will continue to rise, maybe not in a linear fashion, but over time, continue to rise, especially with all this capital coming in over the bridge here. The food for thought there. Then you've got obviously Hex and Pulse there. This is Hex here on Pulsechain and Wrap Pulse there. So you got that. You've also got the you can do that as well. So I would it depends on which relativity you think is going to win out there between the prices between Hex and Pulse. Obviously, if Pulse, if it's going to be going many more X's than Hex, then that could be quite a bit of impairment loss. You might want to think about that. And plus, your offset there with the incentive token, if that capitulates, if this incentive token does go down in value, then obviously that's going to lower your offset and your profitability on that as well. So there's a lot of variables to take into account for that. Now, obviously, the incentive Wrap Pulse, incentive Pulsex, they're the ones, these two pools, they're the ones that caused this exciting jump here from 35,000 Pulse per incentive all the way up to as high as 156,000, sorry. And we're currently at 145. So the market's holding up at the moment. But you've got to definitely watch this here like a hawk, I would say, if you are managing your position in the farm. So that is kind of cool there. Now, will we see other farms? Will we see, we've got Pulse and PulseX. Will we see incentive in Hex? Will we see an incentive token in Hex? That'll be interesting. Once again, you've still got the issue of if the incentive token falls down versus the price of Hex as well. So you've got some issues around permanent loss there and taken into account despite the offset. So we'll see if we see that and any other farms that pop up there. So pretty interesting. But you can see, based on the strategy of the farm, whoever's running the farm, what they are incentivizing. Obviously, we've got all the Richard Hart tokens. We've got the Bridge and Stables. They're all being incentivized. And of course, also we've got a quasi use case for the incentive token here because when these popped up, they made the incentive price recover. They had a place for the incentive tokens to go, and that's pretty cool. Now, will we see any other uses cases for the incentive token that are proper full, what I call not quasi sinks, but full sinks? So quasi just means they're kind of sink when you put it in a liquidity pool, because that means incentive. You know, people are harvesting all these incentive tokens. So there are some big whales in here harvesting incentive tokens. What do they do with them? Well, they can go in these pools, but what else can they do? That is the future. Now, I do believe we may see platforms like Fiat, the fork of Aave. I can't remember what they had on a test net, but they may end up having incentive token. I think they did have incentive token, 100% on that. I have to refresh my memory, but if you get big protocols like that, you know, having incentive token, that's a supply thing, right? So people can go put that incentive token on a lending platform like Fiat, which is a fork of Aave. They could end up putting on that on and get a yield from that. And that way, it depends on what risk they want to do. And they don't have any impairment loss issues here if they do go onto those DeFi platforms. So you can see how this is going to evolve over time. This is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, more opportunities. And of course, over the next, let's say the next 2 months, we're going to see some very big protocols come onto Pulsechain. And of course, that's going to be pretty fun. That's also going to have an impact on the gas prices as well, because we'll have probably a lot more volume going through the chain. But hey, that might offset a little bit of some of the FOMO as well. But definitely pretty cool. You can see the gas price really dropped down there for a moment. That was pretty cool. So that's some of that. So yeah, will we get a Hex incentive pool coming up? Any other pools as well? It's going to be fun to see. So cool on that one. So that is kind of the update there. Now, I wanted to give a big shout out. Now, obviously, we've talked about farms. I've just gone through a discussion of some of the issues that you might want to think about. Also, my favorite farm here is the Hex from Ethereum, the Hex LP. Now, I know it doesn't have the highest APR, but I kind of feel like it's got the least impairment loss issue, and you're still earning a pretty tidy amount of incentive. I think that some big whales might come into this pool. So that's another thing. So they may push the APR down. So that may be a downside there as well. Because obviously we've got a lot of bridged in Hex coming in the pool here, which is pretty cool. Now, obviously, what are some blue clues here? Well, what capital is coming in, and where might it go? Right, it can go into liquidity farms. People can hold it in their wallets. People can buy up assets with it. So those are some of the things that you want to think about. So we've talked about the yield farmings, where capital is going. We're also going to be talking about when we get to the prices, what's happening with the prices in the market. So stay tuned for that, because that's another place where people are putting their capital. So it gives us a bit of blues clues to think where things are going. All right, very cool on that. Now, one thing we haven't talked about much is the burn feature. I just want to talk about that quickly. Now, there is a bounty on the burn. You can see our burn at the moment, 34.29 billion. It's going up so beautifully, folks. This burn is so good. And of course, all these prices are particularly low as well, and we have high turnover. That burn is going to be going through really high. It's going to be accelerating. It's going to be so much fun to see that. Now, you can actually claim a bounty on these if you do it. Now, all you have to do is hit the green button and click burn. But honestly, most of the time, it's not profitable for you. So just take that into account. You'd have to be very lucky to get a burn, any burn that's profitable. Occasionally there might be something, but I just thought I'd point that out at the moment in case you are playing around with it. You just click one of those and you'll see how much Pulsex you got. So this is 13,000 Pulsex you're going to get as a bounty, which is $1. But you just got to decide, is it going to cost you? Is it going to cost you? How much is it going to cost you to do that? It might be cheap at the moment because we're just going to 5.5. But you'd have to see on your wallet there. That actually might be a profitable one. That one maybe just profitable. But then you've got to think about what you do with the tokens that you have left over afterwards. So if it costs you 6,000, effectively 6,000 Pulsex, then we'll see. So the ratio there. You need to know your ratio of Pulse to Pulsex and then see whether that is a profitable burn there. That's $1. That's $1 there. Hey, but some people are after that, so I just thought I'd put it out quickly. All right, so that's pretty much it on the Pulsechain. Now we are waiting for limit orders to come up. We are waiting for the DAO, and of course the one-sided staking pools. I'm not expecting that in the first few weeks, but you just never know if Richard Hart, he could surprise. He's got lots of tricks up his sleeves, lots of cool things coming, I'm sure. He has mentioned in the past, so we'll see what he comes up with in due course. So, because I think the farms have been pretty exciting. I think these farms with the incentive tokens have been pretty good. And yeah, it's going to be really neat to see that. So yeah, I know a lot of people are after the one-side staking pools for Pulsechain. We'll see what Richard does there. It's going to be interesting. Now, typically we're expecting third-party projects to airdrop in there. So we'll see what happens there. Will we see an incentive pool in there for a while, just as a little promo? I don't know. Probably not, but you just never know. That's a wild card, that one. All right, so kind of cool. Let's jump over to BNB. Now, obviously, people have been drastically trying to get Pulse. If you didn't have Pulse, if people have been scammering for Pulse, and the community has come to your aid. I think the community's done a pretty good job, particularly from BNB Pot and Jacob. Done amazing there with the Pulsechain, with the Pulse Faucet. So big shout out to Jacob, Dev there, super genius Dev, by the way, and of course the BNB Pot there, and of course we spent 100 million Pulse. I mean, this is not not trivial. This is a pretty material amount of Pulse helping Pulsechain community members. We are closing in on 30,000 claims. We need donations to help keeping it going. Otherwise, we will close the faucet soon. So this is the wallet there. You can actually donate to if you want to. So if you're feeling like you want to donate a little bit there to help out a lot of people that are either stuck, then that's definitely one to go to. So I'm going to post the link to PulsePot there, and you can see that. That is the link there if you want to donate there. So cool. Maybe you made a bit of profits degening and you want to help out some of the other communities. Now, this is the faucet, of course. It is open, and of course, they've put another 50 million up, which is pretty cool. Now, this has still got 22.8 million Pulse in the second round. And of course, you can see the amount of people. Really neat there. It is open at the moment. There's no queue on it, so you can get some Pulse there. Maybe you got Pulsex and you couldn't able to do a swap. Maybe you only received one Pulse or something. You got Pulsex, and you can then get enough. If 2,500, if the Gwei is low enough, you'll be able to swap that. And of course, a good place obviously is the Gwei. Like now would be a good time. You'd probably be able to swap that with the Gwei around 5 million beats, and it'll cost you about 2,000 Pulse. So probably enough if you get 2,500. That should work for you. So pretty cool on the site there. I'll post that in the chat there too. Now we do have the links in the Discord as well, but just trying to help you guys out with that. So we've gone through some pretty cool stuff here around the bridge solutions that are coming up, particularly Dip Catcher, if I remind you, on Tuesday. If you missed the bridge, if you want to front run the bridge, then that's a good opportunity for you. Obviously, we've got Alex possibly making a single token bridge of Pulse to BNB chain. I'll be looking forward to that, updates from him on that. He's doing so many things, and we will see how quickly that gets up. But in any case, got the official bridge at the moment to bridge stuff over. That might take 2 days, plus or minus a day. We've got the on Tuesday the Dip Catcher Escrow Bridge, which has worked very well. I helped somebody use that on the last bridge. It was very good. So yeah, that's coming up on Tuesday. In terms of getting Pulse though, we've got the official, this one here is the main Pulse faucet. There are other places out there, but this is the safest one. You just have to paste your address in and claim 2,500. It's pretty easy on that. Very nice. All right, now BNB Pod, of course, is going to be launching. They'll be launching on Pulsechain. They've already launched BNB, their crypto casino on BNB. Remember, it's the world's first peer-to-peer decentralized crypto casino on BNB Pod. They've been rolling out their games. The games have taken a little bit longer, and they've made a lot of upgrades, but they've got some big partnerships coming for BNB Pod. So we're going to try and cover that again in the future. I have an open invite to Jacob to come on and talk about that. Now, obviously, we're looking for BNB Pod to be launching on the crypto casino on at least 5 EVM chains. Obviously, Pulsechain is live now, so we're looking forward to that too. No doubt they'll probably get their last game out. I think their next game out on BNB and maybe launch on Pulsechain. Maybe they'll do that on both chains. We will see. But that's going to be pretty cool to see that. And of course, people that sacrifice for BNB Pot, they will get their tokens on Pulsechain too. So very cool. On BNB, when it launched, it had a massive move. It's the first sacrifice project to launch. And of course, it had to launch on BNB first because Pulsechain wasn't there at the time. But they have been able to get more of their gains out, improve their platform, and also got a string of big partnerships coming up, which are going to help with the volume on the platform, which is very important. All right, so we're going to keep tuned on that. Now, that's pretty neat there. Let's jump over to some news here. A big shout out to Sandy B. She's in the chat there, as I say, a rising influencer on Twitter. And, of course, one of our community mods. Sandy B here posted this in Discord. Free Pulse. Free Pulse, another form of faucet we're expecting. While apparently they've announced their FP dedication phase will not take place. Pools will be refunded in the coming weeks. Don't hesitate to reach out via DM if you have any questions. And, of course, 6 hours ago, no one ran off with your money. Don't worry. We're planning to bridge it over to Pulse and distribute it there. What's missing, is a fully functional bridge and a multi-sender tool. So looking on that, obviously Magic Outright is doing a multi-sender tool, but I'm not sure whether that's been applied to Pulsechain yet. We're working on the multi-sender tool. So Free Pulse are working on that. Maybe it's going to be through Magic Outright. I don't know. So that is kind of news there. Yeah, so I haven't really participated in Free Pulse. But if that's news to you, definitely check it out. But I post a link to that in the chat there in case that does apply to you. So I don't know whether that means that that's killed off their faucet or not. I really haven't associated that. I just saw that post, so I thought I'd post that. Maybe it means a lot more to you than it does to me. All right. All right. That's always risky when you do that, but that is Free Pulse there. We were expecting a sacrifice there, a faucet, so we haven't heard anything from them, I don't believe. So let me have a quick check while we're here. 14th of May was the last update. Update regarding the faucet. The initial interest in Pulsechain.com is so immense that gas fees are currently skyrocketing. At this point, withdrawals are too expensive to run the faucet properly. And now it looks like this FP dedication phase, which I think is kind of their version of the sacrifice, is being refunded. That's what I understand it's being. Let me know in the chat there. Let me know if you actually sacrificed. I'm trying to have a look here. No one's commenting on that, so that is pretty much it. We will keep you updated on that because that's a pretty important one there. Obviously, a lot of people are looking forward to that gaming site and faucet, so we'll see whether that means the end of that project or not. We will find out. All right, I think that's it. So we're going to get into the markets. Before we get into the markets, though, we're going to get into all the markets. So if you're looking at, we're going to cover the meme coins and all sorts of stuff just briefly to see what has been moving. Rather than actually promoting the memes, we're just covering what has been moving on the Pulse chain in terms of activity. So let's get into that. Before we do though, let's catch up on the chats. We're up to an hour and 8 minutes. We're doing very, very well. We've got a great crowd in the house. Good to see everybody too. Pulse chain, pulse gains. That's what we say. Pulse chain, pulse gains. Where we are here. Let's jump back up here. How far did I get back? We got up to there. I think we got up to Thothschild who jumped in there. The bridge on the river DeFi. Yeah, that's where we got up to. What else there? Check my pulse says, how much PLSX do you need to claim 1 cent per day? Pulsex. Well, on that pool, that would be pretty low. So you need quite a bit of Pulsex on that low yield pool, the APR pool. I haven't done the math on that, but that was probably what you'd need. I'm not in that pool. Yeah, I'd have to work that one out. Might take a little while. Look how Pulsechain directly affected ETH network. One of the many targets knocked out in the park. Yeah. Let's pull that up, actually. I want to pull that up because let's go pull up money. That's a good point there, Thothschild. Let's pull up the ETH chain now. I'm sure this has contributed greatly, making illusions here. So let me just increase that. Bam. And that is the 7-day time frame. Let's have a look. So obviously the meme coins have come off, Pepe and stuff like that. But definitely these coins here. Look at that. The Gwei's really come down over the weekend. Now, normally the weekend was always great, but of course we had all those meme coins and everything else pumping up everything, and it was pretty horrendous for the gas prices there. We're still getting some of these very big tops here as the market get congested, but look, it's really coming down here. 30 Gwei's, and now look at it's really dropping down there. 26, 27, because so many people are partying over at Pulsechain, Pulse Gains, and of course that's so cool to see. Look at that, really, really cool. So if you've got a stake to end on the Ethereum chain, well, at least the Gwei's come down dramatically. It should cost you a lot less as well. Now, the other cool thing is that we do have a estimator for the end staking, and that is under useful links up at the top under the Hex area. You can see there's a calculator there based on the S-load function. You can just put in the amount of gas that you think it is. But yeah, definitely come off. Look at that, back in the 20s again. Beautiful, man, beautiful. That's such good news. Love it, and good observation there from Thothschild. What else that we got? Who else is here? Jump through some of that. Abit says, yes, a very good tip. Take a screenshot when you start the liquidity pool so you can know at what ratio you provide the coins. Yeah, that is true. And what we're hoping for, there are providers that do all the liquidity pools. We're hoping that they add Pulsechain. And I've gone through that on the yield farming videos that I've done. And they do all the work for you. And that includes adding the incentive rewards. And hopefully they're going to add Pulsechain so that we can, that will be all automated rather than you having to do it manually. But yeah, that's definitely coming. Now check out, I can't remember, I'm just forgetting the name of the provider. I have to look it up again, but actually let me just look over here. I'm pretty sure I still got it. APY Vision. The APY Vision does a lot of the EVMs, and basically they just add your wallet in, and they will track that for you. And it's beautiful, really makes it simple. You can see what your permanent losses, you can see what your rewards are, how much profitability you are. It's so good, does all the hard work for you. Very, very cool. But a simple way is just to do a copy. It's not as fast or as accurate, but it will help a lot with working out how profitable it is. Sandy Beach says, very good advice. I just wrote it down in my old school notebook. Says Sandy Beach. That's funny. MetaMask doesn't show the dollar value on Pulsechain at the moment. That's true. Is that the same for everyone? Yes, that is true. Hopefully they'll show it soon enough. Won't take long, Rod, I'm sure. Christian says, I need to bridge my EX. What else? Poop the likes. Awesome content all the time, says Sandy Beach. Hey, thanks for that, Sandy. Appreciate that. What else we got on there? Acapella guess this weight on Pulsechain has really made a strong move up in the last 24 hours with the conversion reduction closing in. Okay, cool. What else we got going on here? We got DHex in the house. Let's go. Hexkins, Pulsexkins, 100%. Let me have a look here. We've got Rev 10 in the house here. Let's go. Cool. And we got Matt and Bali says Zen Dodge launching tonight. Kiwi time, Aussie and Bali time launching. I mean, available to burn Zen for Zen Dodge. Yeah. I don't know when I covered that yesterday, but I'm not sure when the time frame of that is for Pulsechain. I'll have to check that. Matt and Bali says I have earned 1.5 incentives currently, $42 since 10:30 p.m. last night. For me, that's about 9 hours. Okay. We don't know what you put in though, Matt, for that, but you don't have to tell us. I don't like people giving away their positions too much in the chat. I appreciate that. Maybe a chat for the Discord if you want to, have a chats around that, because I don't really like that on the channel because I don't like people to give away their positions. Blend and become targets. I have Hex on the Pulsechain network. Can I bridge that over to my ETH network? Yes, you can. You can send it over to the Ethereum network. It will show up as Rat Pulse over there. We're going to go through that chart in a second. All right, let's get to it. So cool. Let's get away from there. BTC at the moment, 27,141. We really want this to kick over that 30,500, but it's holding up at the moment. We're kind of in that middle zone, as I always say. Ethereum there, $1,824, up a little bit too, and BNB at the 311. So the market's looking okay and has been, and it's good times for Pulsechain to shine, and it's nice to see. Jumping to the markets, we got Pulse versus DAI. This is the Pulse price, and we're going to have a look at this is on the Pulsechain. We've got a price at 0.0002052, up about 3.6% at the moment, and just a nice little gaining here. And don't forget, we've got all these funds coming in, over the bridge that want to get up. Let's get in the bridge there. So pretty cool. Look at that. We've got 108 million in there now. So the bridges funds that keep flowing in there. That dip catcher escrow might end up being quite good. The front run, all that stuff, maybe on Tuesday, depending on when it closes, opens and closes. So very cool. Yeah, we're getting obviously tons of buyers, tons of volume on there. We got $24 million in volume on this. Really, really cool. 7.2 million liquidity, looking pretty strong. Is Pulse there, and of course we're 2x the sacrifice price at the moment. Early days, right? Pulse there is Pulse X. I thought I had the Pulse price on the Pulse price. Oh, let me pull that up. So I'll just pull that up in a minute. Let me go to. I'm going to pull up the Pulse price on Ethereum. I thought I had it up, but I obviously don't. Pulse on ETH chain. Rat Pulse. Oh man, that has changed a lot. Wow. Okay, that has changed a lot there. That's on the hourly. Man, that has changed a lot. That's pretty. Rat Pulse. That is okay. That's been dramatic. I didn't even see that. So yeah, I haven't looked at the markets. I've only pulled them up, but there we are. We were up pretty aggressively on Pulse there at 0.0036. There've been some profit taking in there. pretty dramatically from the looks of it. We're back down at 0.0023, which is interesting. That puts us pretty close to both chains being pretty similar price now. That is only at 2,300. We're at 2,000 on the or 20,000 if you use 8 digits on the chain there. But yeah, 0.002, 0.0023. Interesting move there. I had not seen that, so kind of cool. Pulsex, we're looking at Pulsex at 0.007705, and of course that's up 23% on 24 hours. So that's been the big performer, and we saw that move up pretty strongly. Pretty cool, and looking good there. We're going to look at the EHEX to Hex pair, and that is sitting at 1 to 1.3 on EHEX to Hex. So that's pretty, hopefully it'll probably move to parity. Hopefully, that's what a lot of people are calling parity. Seems like a logical thing. It may fluctuate either side, but that is how that's running at the moment. Looking at the Hex on Pulsechain, Hex at the moment is at 2.9 cents, which is pretty nice, holding out really strong after our dramatic. Remember yesterday during the live stream, this candle was live on our channel. Unbelievable, the big pump, and of course it pumped us all the way up on Hex on Pulsechain up to 4.3 cents. It was glorious. It was on this channel, and you saw me go crazy. This is how we rock and roll on there. Now we're back down. I did say to you after this happens, I said typically we see the price consolidate and rise up. That's exactly what happened. And nice, they're up 30%. Looking good, exciting. And of course, we've got Hex not just on Pulsechain, we've got Hex on Ethereum, which is pretty cool. We're going to check that out. So we've got two of them. So if you actually had got copied them on the fork on May the 10th at 10:30 at night, then you would have had 2 copies. And obviously, if you're buying them now, if you're buying either one chain or the other, and we'll see what the market decides over time. But definitely, I think we're going to see a lot more liquidity come in there. And of course, on the Pulsex farm, we saw that this farm was pretty popular with the Hex, the 2 hexes. So yeah, we'll talk about that. So getting bigger liquidity pools, the fatter it gets, potentially they could make it get more parity, make more reach parity, or at least get more stable in the price ratio. So yeah, cool. We got Hex put 2.9, let's say. We got Hex at 3.5 on this chain. This is on the daily, by the way. What's this chart on? This is on the hourly. So it's on the hourly there. This is on the daily on EHEX there. Now the price when we had the fork was this price here. We had the opening price at about 6.7 cents after the fork. So it was probably about an hour and a half later or so. But that was enough, maybe approximately that. But anyway, it's about 6.7 cents. Now we're sitting at about 3.5 cents on here. So we take our maths. We take 3.5 cents. We add that to the Pulsechain price. If you had both of them of a 2.9, say 2.9, that gives a combined price of 6.4 cents, which is not too far below. Sorry, I'm jumping around here. Not too far below the opening there on the 11th, post the fork day, which is pretty cool. The close was at 5.8, so that's not bad there. Now, obviously, we got the big whales and that moving a couple of days later, realizing that they had probably missed the boat. And of course, we see the whale volatility there play out. We got all the way down this candle to 1.1 cent. Unbelievable. Some people had limit orders. They didn't get picked up, though. I've heard people comment on that, said, oh, I had limit orders. I didn't get picked up. My bad. But hey, look, that happens too. It was probably so quick. And now we're up at 3.5 cents. So looking pretty good on Hex, up 1% on Ethereum. Pretty cool. We got 5.5 million liquidity in there, and we've had about 4.6 million volume. Not bad there as well. That leads us with the last of Richard Hart's tokens, which is the incentive Pulse token. And this is looking really strong at the moment. But just be very careful around this price and see what ratio is, especially if you're farming, because obviously if this goes down, and then your yield reward, your yield farming goes down, obviously you and your ratios, if you're depending on what farm you're in, if you've got an incentive farm, to your ratios that you'll be having there as well, because you'll end up probably losing more Pulse as well. So just be careful there. Remember, I say the Richard Hart's tokens are the golden standard: Pulse, Hex, and incentive token. Obviously, the first 3 there don't have such market volatility. If you're thinking about them moving up over time, obviously Pulse is the main chain, the layer 1 Pulse chain. Pulse Hex is the main token of the dual token system for Pulse Hex. Incentive is the child, as it were, so yeah, children do have tantrums, so that's just the way it goes, and of course that's how we rock and roll. All right, so and then of course Hex, the ultimate savings product, is going to keep churning along there. So that is some of the cool stuff there. Let's go to Hedron quickly. Hedron overnight. on this, just on the ETH chain. I didn't pick up the Pulse chain, but it's currently at almost back at 1,000. So that pretty much got forked like Hex did and halved up. But that is, doing okay at the moment. And we're looking forward to more stuff because Alex, the founder, has got a lot of dApps coming. So particularly ICOSA should benefit from that a lot. Now, don't forget, if you want to check out your stakes, you can use go.hex. If you want to check out ICOSA Hedron, you can use those too, because that's what they, if you're going to check out your Hex stakes, you can use go.hex, or you can use app.icosa.pro. Now, obviously for Hedron and ICOSA, that also is on app.icosa pro as well. So you can see all your stakes on both chains. Just switch over the chain on your wallet and you'll be able to see those. For go.hex, though, you might have to open up another window. It does have a little bit of a hard time there sometimes doing that. Which leads us to the Hex daily payouts, which is pretty cool. We're on day 1,265, 20th of May. We got the price in at 3.5 cents. Looks like we've got the price up to 0.6% there. Not bad. The payout on the ETH chain. Now, we're getting paid out on both chains now if you got T-shares, but this is on the ETH chain only. Well, hopefully this site will add back in the Pulse when the numbers have stabilized. Some issue drawing in the right numbers at the moment. We got 6.573 Hex per T-share. Another great day in the office. Man, and man, just keeps going up and up for T-share holders. And of course, we got the dot day for the share rate, where it's 27,279. Remember, by the end of this year, we're expecting this to be over 31,000. So earlier pays better. Average mining length there, 7.12 years is the average mining length. Yesterday was a record high at 7.13 years. We had all those big T-shares coming out by the 19th. They've all come out now. We've got a couple, one or two ahead of us, but that's kind of the play there, 7.13. When also short big ones came out, they lifted the average mining length there. So we've got 39.54% in the APY rate there. So another great day in the office. And don't forget, we're earning this on Pulsechain too. So if you've got T-shares that got copied over, they're earning over there. And of course, we saw the prices. Prices are looking pretty good there. 2.9 cents on Pulsechain and 3.5 cents on the Ethereum side. Looking forward to watching these two dance, as it were, and getting excited about that. All right, let's have a look at liquidity pools on ETH. We've got 146 million in the pool, just down slightly from yesterday. And of course, we've got just under 1.4 million US dollars and slightly less ETH in there today. The T-share pool's gone down 2,200. We're sitting at just over 9.9 million T-shares in the pool. Unbelievable. Just blows my mind every time I see it. Means the Hex payout's gone up too. Less people to share the rewards with. We got lock percentage of coins there, 9.27%. And of course, we had another day of 1 million penalties or more. And the penalties have been spectacular. Yeah, we're at 65 million on the payout as well. Remember, we get 50% of the penalties, 50% goes to the OA accounts. Helps with deflation as well. If the OA never sells, of course. OA also stakes, so that also reduces the inflation rate. So we have an effective inflation rate much lower. You can follow ABIT and Patrick. They cover that every year. They do great analysis, and they're with Crispy Man now too. So check out some of their videos. I have posted one of their videos. Every year they do a video. I love to post those. They're so good, very insightful. So definitely check out those. Looking at the growth numbers, current holders, they were down 629, 333,625 holders. Remember, we've got all this Hex being bridged over. We've over 1 billion of eHex is being bridged over the Pulse chain. And of course, maybe those juicy APR on the farms looking pretty tasty. You got to remember it's relative, right? So when you come over the bridge, the APR rates are relative to you. So you weren't there when they were at first launch, when they were up in the millions. You weren't there when they were sitting at 5,000%. You're coming in when they're at like 1,200% or 900%. So it's relative to you if you're a new user. And so you've got to take that into account, that other people may have been there when they're much higher rates. They may have a lot more incentive tokens because of that high rate. So just remember that as well. Now these people also may trade their eHex for something else. And so that means somebody else is buying their eHex as well. So it's not just liquidity pools, but buying and selling. And some people just sit on it, right? They bridge it over and just sit on it. So that's true too. All right, so cool. The current miners there, we're up 4 on the current miners. And of course, we're at 120,467. Get out there and spread the word. That's all we say. Spread the word, the good news of Pulsechain and PulseX and Hex. Get out there, get those T-share mining and start earning that sweet reward. We're up 590 holders now to 566,257 on total holders. So looking pretty good. And now we're on day 1,266. we've already got a 6.52 hex payer on the ETH chain. And of course, if you've got T-shares on Pulsechain, and you've got those too. And you can see those on go.hex or on app.acoza.pro, which is pretty awesome. And look at that gas price for Ethereum. It's definitely come down. So cool. A lot of people playing on Pulsechain, right? So let's go to see that. Let's go to see that. We're going to look at the some of the overviews here. Not only have we got over $100 million on the bridge, we've got $200 million at least, give or take, 10 million on the yield farms, but we've also got obviously all liquidity in all these other pools as well. So this is on PulseX. Let's go to PulseX here. We've got 144,000 tractions on here on the DEX screener, 165 million in volume on 24 hours. And of course, you can just sort by liquidity on the top right here, and you can see what is got the biggest liquidity pools. You can also switch on, say, the last 24 hours to see what pair has popped up there that is trading the most with the biggest gains. So you can check that out. You can have a look at the last 6 hours to see what's performing in the last 6 hours. You can see what's performing in the last hour to see what's hot. So we've got this new token here called Toot versus Pulse there. And it's got Richard Fart tokens. So people are putting up all these silly tokens. So there are new, not just copy tokens, but new tokens that people are issuing on Pulsechain. And we're going to see lots of those. So don't expect those to disappear. And I know that I think Tangent and Toby, when I was on the live stream, on the 48-hour live stream yesterday, were making jokes about all the meme coins popping up there. But you do have some pretty big legit teams like Jeff Kadakis from Trust Wallet launching tokens like Pepe Coin. And there was already a Pepe Coin copy, and they launched their own Pepe Coin. And you've got also launching stuff like Dogecoin. They launched that too. They both got pumped up there. But TGN actually, given the fact that they do a lot of security stuff, it's kind of ironic. That's pretty interesting. Now, lots of tokens popping up there. Obviously, tokens that popped up in the first few days, like Richard token, the Hart token, which I think was a bit of a scam token. Be careful with that one. That's moved away. But you've got lots of other tokens here as well. Ape token here, Adobo. A lot of DGN stuff going on there. Remember, with DGN stuff, yeah, you can make mad gains, but you can also lose a lot mad gains if you're on the wrong side of it. Just take that into account. It is speculation, right? Speculation. A lot of the pools can be quite thin in liquidity as well, and that means that you're pretty much stuck in there if you go more than, like this one's got $1,000. If you go more than like $20 or $50 or something, you're a big part of the pool there. Just remember that you can get wrecked. Also, you don't know the underlying contract as well. So just take that into account. DGNing is definitely a tricky game. Now, there are better probabilities, right? You go for the proper utilities, the proper projects, like Fiat here, Fork of Aave. That is a DeFi protocol, so that's sort of the better version. You've obviously got your copies on Pulsechain, like Link Token. So those are probably popular ones may trade, like SHIB coin, for example. They may trade as well. You've got fun little tokens like Pulse Kittens here. So you got sort of the funner side of meme coins as well. You got the Pepe one here. Now there are two Pepes around at the moment. So it's the original one, and they were copied, I believe, and the new one from Jeff Kadakis. Take that into account as well. So that's the DGN side. So I'm not promoting them. I'm just saying they're there, and people have been trading them. But we've got obviously a lot of our good ones like Hedron copies on Pulsechain. So you can see one here called Twerk, probably all the stuff. So we've got all these things, names around Richard Hart. Not surprising they popped up, right? And this is the way it goes. Casino token here. I have no idea what that one is. It's popped up there. Kira, of course, we know about Kira. That's been around. We haven't covered that much though. They do have an airdrop coming as well, so I might need to check on that because they did have an airdrop coming. What else there? So yeah, it's moving around pretty fast. So that is some of the stuff happening there. Now, to get into some of the highlights before we wrap up, we're up to an hour and a half, so we're going to wrap up on this. Is the ranking? Let's get into the ranking. I've got the wrong button there. I've got to pick the right button here. The rankings here. Pulsechain. Look at that. Do you see that? Number 3. Woo-hoo-hoo! Number 3. Yeah, boy. And of course, in front of us is the BSC. So number 3 is the Pulsechain. And you can see the transactions there. 164 million volume, 153,000 and transactions. Obviously, as the prices rally as well, we're still early days, right, with the prices, right? So as the prices rally, we've got all that stuff coming through the chain, all this money coming through the chain here. It's pretty cool. We just did 109 million. So we've got all this money coming in here. What's that? Another 45 million dollars coming in. So yeah, it's going to be crazy time here on the chain. And of course, next after that is BSC. BSC has a lot of rubbish stuff going through it. So a lot of rubbish transactions as well as a lot of DGN stuff. But that's going through there. And of course, that is up 853,000 transactions, 477 million. We're coming for this chain next over the next week or two, right? We're going to come after this chain, and of course we've got Ethereum at the top there with $481 million. So we're going to be targeting particularly that volume amount. There's 229,000 transactions there. Pulsechain is pretty close, not too far away from that. I'm sure we'll be able to target that in the next week or two, especially with all these funds coming over and much, much more, right? So it's going to be a lot of fun. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's live stream, an hour and a half. I think it's a pretty good place to finish. We're going to end here. What we're going to end here on the Pulsechain. Yeah, we'll end on the Pulsechain price. That's a good place to be. And that's at 2x of the sacrifice price at the moment. What a great time we're going to have. And this is just the end of the first week, opening up the second week. It's going to be a lot of fun, folks. And I hope you guys enjoyed some of those bridging solutions coming up with Dipcatcher. And of course, with Alex McFerder at some stage. Obviously, liquid loans and stuff like that can be pretty cool. And the Pulse Faucet there for those that are after a bit of Pulse to get their first trade. Definitely get into it. All right, let's see who are the final comments before we wrap up here. Let's see what we've got to here. How far back do I have to go? Rev 10, let's go, 100%. We got up to Matt and Barley. I definitely got up to that. We've got Blend Bros. I have Hex on Pulsechain Network. Can I bridge that over? Yeah, we got up to that, so that you definitely can do that. Spike is in the house. Sup, peeps? Good to see Spike. And Matt and Barley says 10 p.m. for Superman, about 2 a.m. for you, Zendodge. Okay, cool for the launch. I'll definitely follow that up as well. We'll keep posting those links to the Pulse Burn and the incentive token crude. So if you're farming, I think that's for, so you can check that out. Thank you for that, Wookie, one of our cool moderators. Also a Kiwi. Don't hold that against them. Superman, RH tokens are the golden standard of crypto. 100%. Well said there, KD. Well said, man. Matt Barley says, anybody know the required fix on government for it to display correctly? Currently using a COSA, but I like to see the interest in things also. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Jump into our Pulsechain help group, Matt. We'll look at that. Riff Akara says Pulsechain is #1 on Coin Market Cap. New currencies list, is it? Let's go pick that up then. Coin Market Cap. Coin Market Cap. This one here. I have hardly ever been on this. So I'm going to have to look here. Recently added Pulsechain. Yeah, nice one there, Riff. Nice one there, Riff. Nice one. Don't you love the community giving us some alpha there? And yeah, Pulsechain #1. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Recently added. Nice on that on the Coin Market Cap. Can't hold a good thing down. Very, very, very cool. All right. What else we got going here? Much love from Patrice, 100%. Much love to you, Patrice. And of course, A-Bet there. Thanks, Superman. Yes, the Power T-Shares presentation is lit. Yeah, it's a beautiful stuff. You guys do such good value add with that. Really is super helpful to everybody in the community. Big shout out to Patrick and A-Bet there. And the Crispy Man who's doing stuff now too. What else? Rod Patrick. Number 3 so fast, just awesome, says Brian. 100% it is. Kenny P says, is there any way I can do a peer-to-peer to get Pulse on Pulsechain? Well, there's a faucet that you can get. We have, the faucet. You can try the faucet. And of course, I posted that in the chat there earlier. So definitely check that out. Coming for ETH, says Brennan. 100% we're coming for ETH chain. Awesome stream again and again and again, says Abel. Hey, thanks for that. I appreciate that. What else there? Thanks, Super. Hey, one thing with reading comments, you don't really look at the camera enough, so I do apologize for that. This is an easy trick. All the influencers fall for it. People, anyone streaming, it's easy to fall for it. Thanks, Super. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Pulsechain, epic tuning ahead of us, 100%. We're coming for you next to CZ, says Lizman. I like that. That's pretty badass. Woohoo, says Wookie. Nice one. All right, take care, everybody. Let's play out some videos here. We're going to play out some fun stuff on the way out. Hope you guys enjoy it. Let's get into it. Boom, boom, boom. Peace out. Subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. See you in Discord. Discord is free. Got all the links to everything on Pulsechain and Richard Hart ecosystem. So check it out. And the best community. Have fun. Bye for now. Take care. Woohoo.
Here in my $3,000 Valentino Rockstud purse, my $3,000 Prada jacket, $2,000 Prada shirt, $2,000 or $3,000 Prada pants, Prada glasses, Prada hat, Prada bracelet, and it's all product, Prada shirt, glasses, Prada pants, and it's all nylon, so the haters' tears fall right off. Prada, 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 Prada shirt, Prada hat, Prada glasses, Prada pants, and it's all nylon, so the haters' tears fall right off.
Lil Bubble, let me ride that rocket.
Thank you.